Hello everyone, my name is Blackwatch. Welcome to another episode of How to Play. This is the series that I give you some strengths, weaknesses, loadout tips, and just general tips for operators in Siege. Timestamps in the description. Subscribe if you like this stuff. And in this week's episode we're taking a look at my favourite operator, Gustave Kateb, also known as Doc. He's an op who's kind of been usurped by Thunderbird, but he's still got a special place in my heart. Doc is a 3 armor, 1 speed defender. He's a member of the GIGN CTU, it's a French CTU, and he has 3 primary weapons. The MP5, which is my must take, this is his best weapon. It's got 1.5x scope, it's very good-ish. He's got the P90, which I don't like, I think it's pretty bad, and the SG-CQB, which is a good shotgun, best pump action in the game, still wouldn't take it, so definitely settle on the MP5 in this one. And in terms of secondaries, he's got the P9, it's a semi-auto pistol, it's pretty good. And the LFP 586, which I really like, it's a revolver. I would pick this over the P9 sometimes, but other times I'll pick the P9 as well. It's very 50-50 on that one. Secondary gadgets, he's got barbed wire or the bulletproof camera. I use the bulletproof camera now, even though I'm a big fan of barbed wire. The bulletproof camera is fantastic, and so I think it's better to have that on your team, especially with that EMP dart, which we will see used today. Exciting stuff. And his unique gadget is the MPDO Stim pistol. This has 3 shots loaded individually, so you've got to shoot one and then load another one, shoot the next one. And these have no drop at all, but they move quite slowly. I'm not talking crawlingly slow, but you know, Capitao bolt slow. And they deliver 40 permanent health to whoever they hit, friend or foe, unless that health surpasses their health cap. Any health that goes above the cap is temporary and it ticks down at 1 health point per second. He can revive down but not out operators in 2.75 seconds with 75 health in their pool, instead of the 20 health a standard res gives, and this health is permanent, not temporary. Shots that he takes are perfectly accurate, whether they're taken hip-fired or sighted, and they can go through incredibly tight surfaces. I'm not sure if they can go through bullet holes anymore, they used to be able to, but yeah, play about with that, and if it is still the case, then you just got to fire a single shot into a wall, and you can then follow up by sticking a stim through that hole in the wall. But obviously the guess is whether or not it's actually going to go through or hit a... hit a cheeky little stud that you didn't see, so wouldn't recommend it too often. His strengths, unrivaled when it comes to revives. There is no one else in the game with better revives than him. He can heal from any distance, which is a big thing because obviously Thunderbird is his competition, who unfortunately wins the battle, but she can't throw her little balls of death from the distance that he can shoot his stims. And he can self-res, that's the last strength that I have for Doc. I do love Doc a lot, but I do accept that he's not in the best state just now. But he's got self-res, heals from any distance, very good revive work. Weaknesses, his kit is not great, especially compared to Thunderbird. I like the MP5, it's a very comfortable gun, but when you put that up against the spear wins, especially on defense. In general, his healing is just not as good as Thunderbird's. She can heal more often, more consistently, and at higher volumes without sacrificing her whole ability. Having 3 shots of 40 is nice, but they're loaded slowly, and that's it. Whereas Thunderbird constantly generates these 30 health bumps. She's just very, very strong. And he is a 3 armor, that limits his versatility, unfortunately. Whereas Thunderbird is fast. Tips and tricks to make the most of this poor battered Frenchman. Prioritise heals based on effectiveness and deficit. So effectiveness is how well that particular teammate's doing. Deficit is how little health they have compared to their maximum. You've got to balance those two things. If you've got a teammate who's absolutely going off and is low, they're a very clear choice. But you might run into a situation where a teammate is only 1 stim worth down versus a teammate who's a lot lower, and then you've got to ask yourself, is it going to benefit me more to have this guy who's absolutely tearing it up going in at full health, or to risk this other guy who's close to death not having any health? Now if they're close enough to death that you can do a trick I'm going to tell you about in a minute, then do it. Otherwise you're going to have to make that call on your own. Don't be wasteful with the stims, but don't be stingy. You want to balance a less than optimal heal from a final stim versus a revive for an operator who could be dug in a position where the revive will be realistic. So do you want to give them that little bit of extra health that's only going to get them up to half, or do you want to wait until they go down and pick them up with significantly more? Again, it's all going to be judgment calls. I can't tell you when it's the right situation, when it's not. You're only going to know when it's you in that moment doing your thing. If you have a teammate who's actively engaged in cover and you have a safe angle on them, and I'm emphasizing a safe angle, you don't want to be getting shot in the back or the side or wherever if you're doing this, you can pre-aim them and res them if they get hit, and you can res them immediately. Oftentimes that's going to be enough to catch the enemy off guard. I think I do this once in this video. I don't know if it's successful at actually saving him. I don't think it is, but sometimes it will be. It really just depends. If a teammate is near death, then you want to shoot them in the foot through a soft surface with your lowest damaging weapon. Now 9 times out of 10, this is going to be your SMG with a single shot. So make sure that, well, obviously you can't swap it to single shot anymore, but just make sure you're not popping out too many shots when you're doing this. Make sure it's through a soft surface, so a wall or a sofa or whatever else the game arbitrarily decides is soft and what is not, and it should down them, and then you should be able to revive them for 75. But you're only looking to do this if they're walking around with like 5 health or something like that. That's when it's going to be beneficial. Don't use your pistol, because your pistol deals more damage than your SMG. If you're using a shotgun, you could take the risk and try and aim slightly away from them with the shotgun and maybe just land a couple of pellets. This is far from a guarantee. It's a high risk. I wouldn't really recommend this. The other one is if you're using the revolver and you only have a shotgun as your alternative, maybe you could put multiple soft surfaces in front of them, maybe shoot through a sofa and a wall and a table or something else at the same time. That might make the difference, or it might kill them. You just got to weigh up the priorities there. You want to prioritize your team, particularly your roamers and your plant deniers, over you when it comes to healing. The only way that you would be looking to prioritize yourself is if you're the only one left, or if your teammates are an unreasonable distance away from you for you to be able to get them to recall and then get zapped by you, or if you're holding a key position. If you're the only thing that's holding a bit that needs to be held, like the clip that I show here with me in pink on coastline, that's a situation where healing yourself is fine. Other situations, not so much. If you've got a mic, tell your teammates to stand still, and if they are standing, tell them to not crouch. And if they move during a shot, you may find that that shot is going to miss. So that's why I'm asking you to tell them to stay still and not to crouch. A lot of people, when they get told to stay still, they crouch instinctively. You've then shot a shot at centre mass, and centre mass is no longer there, and it goes sailing over the top. You don't want to throw away a third of your gadget. Try to avoid this. Stay alive. You're worth nothing when you're dead, unfortunately, as Doc. That's just the way it is. And if you're downed, consider crawling to nearby cover before resing yourself. But you got to weigh up, based on the enemy's location, if it's going to be worth it, or if it's going to be better to just get the speed of the revive versus guaranteed cover. But you can preempt this by trying to prioritize fighting behind hard cover instead of just fighting in the open, because if you go down behind a cabinet, they might not be able to get you. So, that's everything for Doc. Hope you're having a good weekend, guys. I will see you in the next one. Subscribe if you like the videos. There's more coming. Do pobacenia, everybody. Bye-bye.